Thanks, Alex, for the opportunity to present this. I won't spend too much time talking about Eve, about me, but Acton Sales is my business, and I help small businesses with their sales in lots of different ways. So last month I created a 3-hour interactive presentation. Are you seeing the slideshow there, guys? I don't think you are. Yeah. A 3-hour presentation for the Leo Dublin City Women in Business. That was a workshop. So I've condensed that down to 10 minutes for you guys this morning. So it'll be got me? So I hope everyone can get some valuable takeaways. That's the most important thing.
You're not in presentation. Sorry, you're not in presentation mode there, Eva.
Okay.
You're just
from the beginning. Current slide. But okay.
Down the bottom. Yeah, there we go.
We got it. Thanks. Okay. So we all know the process is different if you're selling to a business, big or small, or if you're end user customers. So there are many decision makers, or they might only be 1 or 2 decision makers. For this, we're going to concentrate on selling to SMEs, which there might be a few decision makers. And when it comes to sales, when it comes to sales with small businesses like ourselves, we know that we do the marketing and the sales. We do everything. So it's not, marketing is still about the 4 Ps of product and promotion and placement and price, etc. But it's also about brand awareness, messaging, generating leads, etc. So we need to carry out all these functions as small operators. So the sales process has been defined in many ways, but most people will agree on the following steps. So you're identifying the ideal client type. You have messaging and awareness, building awareness, lead generation and prospecting, lead qualification, pitching and presentation, objection handling, closing, and follow-up. So for the next 8 minutes, I'm going to be talking about ideal client identification, messaging, lead qualification, and objection handling. So under identifying ideal client types, personally, unless you're an absolute startup, the best way of identifying your ideal client type is to look at your previous clients and try and analyze and identify the similar to your previous clients or an even better version of them. So what can you learn from the previous clients? So who they are, what sector you're selling into, and can you sell more into that sector, or can you sell into a different sector? Think about where your clients have come from. What did they buy from you? Last year with the client, we did a survey to look at the products that their customers were buying, and then sent out that survey result to all of their clients, which allowed people to have an upsell opportunity. You know, because suddenly they're seeing, oh, that's another product that person has. So, you know, what are they buying from you, and can you upsell it? The where, geographically, where is less important now as to maybe what platform you got them on, and what message was it that resonated, and can you recreate that scenario again? You know, was it a particular time? Again, on timing, it's critical. What was it that made that client buy from you at that point? Not last week, not next month, not next year. What was the key thing that pushed that client to buy from you at that time? Really knowing that will help you get another client over the line. How was the sales process? Would you want to go through that with that particular client, with a client like that again? Were they good to work with? And why, which is probably the most pertinent thing, the why. I call it the spare key effect. A friend of mine was buying a new car. They had analyzed, they had down to about 2 or 3 different cars, very similar, couldn't decide. And one of the sellers had a picture of a spare key. And we figured 7-year-old car, if you could still provide a spare key, it's likely to be the person that would have a good track record of looking after the car. That was the thing that pushed it over the line. Think about what's your spare key effect. So the next one is messaging. When we look at messaging, you try and put yourself in the shoes of the client, what's going to resonate with them. So for example, my new electric induction hob has a heat-proof glass ceramic surface, coil of copper wire with power boost of 3,200 watts. And I'm like, well, so what? So that for me, it's efficient, it cooks faster, and it's a one wipe clean. That's what did it for me. So the difference between what your product and service can deliver to the customer, what it does and what it actually delivers to the customer, is the difference between that message resonating with your client, or with them saying, so what? So this is just an example that, like, I can provide clarity on an effective sales process. So what does that mean? So that you can recognize the individual steps involved in your sales process. So what? So that you can identify missteps and weaknesses in your sales process, so that you can concentrate your efforts on these areas, so that you can increase your chances of sales success, so that you can employ a sales assistant. It's a powerful process of going down through, so what? Have that little customer on your shoulder saying, so what, so what, so what, so what? And this is not, I didn't invent this. This process is out there, but I find it very powerful. Okay, so lead gen, I could talk about lead gen for hours, and obviously Alec is going to throw me right off if I do that. So I'm not going to talk about lead generation. I'm going to talk about lead qualification. And that's about finding out if your product or service is the right fit for your customer. Because we all know if you get the right fit, you get a better result, you get a happier customer, you grow your business a lot more effectively than trying to shoehorn a customer into your fit. So the main things to look out for is, budget. Can they afford you? Are they the decision maker when you're speaking to them? Do they have a real need? And what is their timing? Is there a sense of urgency? And I have to come clean here. I find timing one of the hardest things to overcome when it comes to sales. We know that you may have done everything else right, and you know that that product will really suit that customer, but they put you on the long finger. It is a difficult one, but it's something that in the qualification process, you need to address it and build in little tricks to try and get them talking about, or get them starting to realize, what is the effect of not acting? What are they missing out on by not acting, or not taking your product, or not making that move at that time? Okay, so very quickly, sales methodology. There's lots. Again, Alec would kick me off if I started talking about the many types of sales methodology. But suffice to say, most of us would use some kind of solution selling or gap selling, where you try and build trust with the customer by putting them first and building a relationship with them, using discovery questions to explore their problems, helping the client try and visualize a future desired state, and then discussing your solution. So helping your customer to identify their own problem is often about asking the right questions. And it's much more powerful if the customer comes to their own observations and their own conclusions. And it gives you an opportunity to speak about the value that you can offer, or again, to talk about the cost of their not acting. Okay, so we're on 9 minutes, believe it or not. So objection handling. You won't be surprised to know that most objections are, the most common objection to a sale is, I can't afford it, I have no money. But most times, again, we realize that if in your own life, if you know something is going to work for you, it's going to tick all the boxes, you will find a way to get that product. So price is very rarely the real objection. So this is a well-established strategy for dealing with people's, knee-jerk reactions sometimes, to try and listen to what they're saying, acknowledge it. Sometimes even repeating it back in a certain situation will stop their knee-jerk reaction. Oh, I can't really afford it. And you kind of stop them in their tracks by listening and actually saying it back to them, and then it allows you an opportunity to try and explore. So objection handling, it's hard to accept this, but often it's the case of think of it as a positive, because you can go back and actually find out some more about what the problem really is. And it may be that you haven't actually explored the original problem sufficiently enough. Okay, I told you it was a whistle stop tour. It is a whistle stop tour. So just briefly, I have slots available for in March for one-day packages, which can include brainstorming on any issue or aspect of the sales process, and advice on use of Sales Navigator. A lot of people don't use Sales Navigator, but you do get a free month, and I can show you how your way around it to maximize use of it for the month. Can create sales focused content for perhaps LinkedIn, or even look at a sales plan creation. So that is me. So I'll stop sharing.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Eva. Well done. And thank you for that. That's a nice whistle stop tour, and I appreciate your timing. That's brilliant.